The presence of women in artificial intelligence is important. If women are unrepresented, it will mean that these advances will not be equal. So today, to talk about AI, we have here to Diana Gamet, team lead in customer journey in SEAT Code. Thank you so much, Diana, and please, all yours.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Diana, as Maria was saying, and I'm here just to talk about women in artificial intelligence, to tell you a little bit of my own experience and what is going on around the world. So basically, what I want to start talking is about me, because everyone loves to talk about themselves. Of course, I'm one of them. So, but it's not about like my story with my family and so on. It's specifically my story of how I got interested in artificial intelligence. So basically, I remember when I was a kid, I was like, Mom, I like this toy, I like this toy, I like this one. And I remember, well, we all have this Santa Claus tradition, well, at least in Mexico. We have this Santa Claus tradition in which like, you ask for a gift and you normally get it. In my case, I normally get it. So, but if I just need to remember like the 3 toys that I like the most, I would say these 3 ones. The first one was a computer that I was like, my mom was going crazy because I was telling all the time, like, Mom, I want this computer, I want this one. So it was a small computer. Thank God it had a charger because imagine with batteries, I was playing all the time with that. And it was like just a small screen where you can play like video games like really like black and white and so on. But I spent a lot of time doing that. And then the next one is the telescope. So not only my mom went crazy, my sister also went crazy because the first time that I saw the moon was like, oh my God, I didn't know that that exists. So I didn't, at the beginning, I was like 10 years old. I didn't even know how to use a telescope, but I was just trying to improvise, as always in my life. So at the end, I found out how to look at the moon, and I was able to see the moon and the stars and also Mars, and it was incredible. I remember I spent like a lot of nights doing that with my sister and my family, and they were like, again, we are gonna look at the same thing, we are gonna look at the moon, but it was like kind of a tradition between us. Actually, I'm still doing it. Whenever I go to Mexico, I take my telescope and I start exploring. And the last one, it was a doll, but it was not like a normal doll. This was a doll that could dance with you. So it has a sensor that attached to your hip. You can start dancing, and the doll is gonna dance with you. So that's when I found out that I liked technology, but that's when I found out that dancing wasn't my best skill. But I knew that there were some robots that could do it better than me. So for example, this doll. So everything started like that. I started to play with a lot of technology, and I spent all my days like that. And whenever you're a kid, you always think, like, what I'm gonna do when I grow up? I don't wanna lose this fun that I'm having right now. So, and I didn't want to lose that. I wanted to find something that it was as amazing as those toys when I was young, that gave me the same joy as when I was playing with them. So then, when I first joined university, I started to study technology, and I found out that technology was my thing. I knew it from the very beginning because I basically grew up with technology, but I knew it, like, when I joined, I was like, this is what I want to do. But then you start to think, or I always do it, like, what's next? What's next on my life? So I was like, yeah, I want to do this, but I think it can be something else out there that can give me the same joy, like robots, technology, or something like that. So that was the first day that I met formally artificial intelligence. The way I met it, it was because a professor back in Mexico was coming back from his PhD in the University of Edinburgh. So he started to talk about his experience in the classroom. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that that exists. I was studying technology, but of course I was like 18 years old. So I didn't know about all the things that you could do with technology. So he started to talk about his own experience. And I started to become like more and more interested. He was basically my inspiration. But it was a male inspiration, just for you to know. he was explaining me all about technology, and he was telling me, like, you should apply to these masters in the University of Edinburgh. They will be more than happy to have you. But then I started to read the requirements, and I say, yeah, this is crazy. I'm not gonna get into that university. I applied anyway because my mom told me, you have to apply, it's fine. If you get rejected, then it doesn't matter. You apply for the next one, and it doesn't matter. But failure in my life was a little bit complicated. So I applied, I did my best, and I got accepted. In 2015, I went to the University of Edinburgh. Of course, when I went there, I was like, I'm living my dream. I was like in Disneyland, but technology. When I first walked in Edinburgh, I was like, this is crazy. Am I going to study in this building? Am I going to meet a lot of people? I was just wondering, like, if there was someone there that felt the same as me, like a little kid with a new toy, or like a little kid in Disney, but about artificial intelligence. So I was wondering, like, is this only happening to me, or is everyone else also? Of course, like, this was like my dream. So I couldn't believe it. It's like, it was crazy. The university was huge. They even had a castle that was like a bar. So that was crazy. I was like, I cannot believe that I'm doing this, and I'm also studying artificial intelligence. I cannot wait to meet more people, to go out for parties, and of course study, because that was the main reason I was there. So when I went to Edinburgh, the first time that I went there, my mom and my dad went with me, because they were gonna do this like Euro trip that we normally do. Well, we don't normally do, but people normally do. And it was the first time I was abroad. Like, I have never been outside Mexico. And it was the first time I was abroad. I was a little girl, so let's take our little girl to Edinburgh because she's gonna study university. So when we were there, I was talking to my mom. My mom did computer science, so she's a programmer as well. So I do remember one thing that she told me when I said goodbye, and it was this. Do you know I wanted to study artificial intelligence? Now I feel I'm living my dream with you. So my mom wanted to do the same thing. I didn't know that until she told me in 2015 when I was about to study that. She never told me, like, I want you to do this, because I never did it. I never knew it until I got there. So for me, we were like, well, it was an extra motivation to start working hard and to finish my degree. But I didn't really know what those words mean until I finished and I started to go into the artificial intelligence world. Then I started my first day at university. I was so excited. I remember I had like a quick breakfast, and I went there. I was like 10 minutes early for the class because I wanted to take the best seat. I didn't want to be so close to the screen because I wanted to meet people, but I didn't want to be that far because I basically don't see from far away. So I wanted to look for the perfect seat so I could meet people, and I also could see the teacher and the professor that was there. So no one was there by the time I got into the room. I thought I was probably in the wrong room. And then people started to come in, a lot of men. All the time, men. There was a woman, and for me it was a surprise, like, hey, there is a seat here, you can come here. And then after 10 minutes, when the class was about to start, I look around and we were 8 women in a room full of 80 people. So we were 10% of women studying artificial intelligence. So for me it was like, is this really happening to me? I was wondering, I could have some friends in here, I could go around, talk about this, and probably talk about the boy that we don't like, but it was like that. And the reality is like that. And then I started to think what I was expecting, because when I was doing my university, there were few women that finished the degree with me. Actually, when I started to research, according to the National Center for Women in Information and Technology, half of the women that start technology information, they just abandon the career before finishing. So imagine when you get to the master's degree. So we were like less than 10% in the room. So it was like, I cannot believe this. And probably I say, well, probably next time will be different. Probably next day we will be more women. Next day, it was still the same. The week after that, it was still the same. There was no success. So imagine the disappointment that I got when I saw this, because I was expecting more women. Just for you to imagine how I felt, I want to talk to you about the situation that is around the world, basically. So there are many companies and many magazines that have been doing some research about artificial intelligence, because women in artificial intelligence, we are like unicorns, basically. And it's not because I'm saying it, it's because also the numbers are saying that. For example, Wired and Element AI, they did a research to find out how many leading machine learning researchers were women. They found out that 12% were women out of 100. So then, if we look at the female authors in artificial intelligence, according to FESTA, there were only 14% of women writing papers. Then imagine, so if there were 40% of women, of course we were gonna be like 10% only in the classroom. Then if we look like, for example, at the conferences, because you see like, hey, I'm gonna get like inspired when I go to a conference, there are like 21 leading conferences in which only 18% of women are participants. So, and then you go to the university and you say, yeah, I'm gonna get inspiration from there, but only 25% of women are professors. I actually only had male professors when I was back in doing my master's. So I was like, probably Edinburgh, because it's rainy, we don't like to come here. But it wasn't like that. It was just the situation around the world. But it's not only in Edinburgh, it's not only in Mexico. For example, if we look at Spain, only 30% of women are co-authors of the total amount of people that are writing papers in Spain. So it's a situation that is happening, well, around the world. And this situation, it hasn't improved since 1990. So I wasn't even born when this problem was already there. And you can think, well, probably because now we have more access to the technology and so on, probably more women can get involved on this. But the situation hasn't been changed since then. Anyway, I continue my master's. I met few women doing artificial intelligence, and we finally got graduated. So, of course, you can imagine that my graduation party was like a few women and a lot of men. But it was amazing because I had a lot of male friends. You cannot imagine how fun is that. But imagine that we were the 8% of women that we get graduated in maths and technology. Because according to the World Economic Forum, only 55% of people that get graduated are women. And from there, only 8% they are graduated in information technology and maths. So we were part of that 8%. And we are part also, like we finished, then we can put it in our LinkedIn profile. But yeah, just like us, only 22% of women around LinkedIn, only 22% of users are women in LinkedIn that can put that title, just like us. So imagine, like, it was fun, I was doing what I liked, but I was like, well, why is happening this? Why, if artificial intelligence is the thing that is coming up next in our lives, that actually is now, is not for the future, it's something that we have right now. I could understand that probably in 1990, we had less women. But now that we are getting more close to artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is everywhere in your life, in your phone, in your computer, in your watch, everything is made of artificial intelligence. So now we need more women for that. But then you start to think, if we have the necessity to have more people, why only men are getting into this field? So one of the things I was thinking, remember when I told you that my inspiration was my male professor back in university? And I normally had only professors back in university. So the lack of women roles is something that is keeping women out of artificial intelligence. Because if you think about it, how many women in artificial intelligence do you know? I guess not a lot. And also, for example, Microsoft survey, they proved that by inspiring girls to get into artificial intelligence, from 32% you get to 52% that are interested on that. But if there is no one that can inspire them, how are they going to meet artificial intelligence? So what we need is this role model that is able to tell us, like, hey, this is amazing. You can come here. It's a safe environment in which you can work, learn, play, and have fun. So that leads us to the second point of a problem is the safe environment as well. This is like a male-dominated field. So sometimes women don't feel safe by saying their ideas. And also they say like, well, they are robots. I normally see boys playing with robots. I'm a girl, I shouldn't be doing that. And then if you go out there and you play with a boy and robots, normally they tell you, this is for boys. You cannot be here. This doesn't only happen when you are a kid. This also happens when you are in a workplace. Fortunately, at least I have had many different good experiences about safe environment at the school and also at work. But I consider myself lucky because if you see out there, there are many women saying that they don't feel safe in their workplace. And then also, remember when I told you, I applied to this master's just because my mom told me, apply, what's the worst that can happen? Because it was so difficult, when you read the description, it's like, I don't have half of the things that they are asking for. Do you think they are going to accept me on this? So according to the BCG Gamma, they started to interview some women, and they found out that the job description is that something that keeps women out of this. Because it said like, someone that is really good in data science. Well, I'm not really good in data science. Why should I go there? So this is some other reason why women are not involved in artificial intelligence professionally, for example. And this is something that happened to me also when I was joining the university, that I say, better not apply. Because if I apply and then I fail, I wouldn't like it. But then I apply, and I can tell you, like, there is no fear. If you get rejected, you try again, and that's it. But you most likely won't get rejected. And then that happened to me when I was 23 years old, 22 years old, when I applied. But this doesn't only happen to women that are already grown-ups. This happened from early stages. The OECD, they did an interview to different people around 15 years old, and 41% of people said, of the girls, they agreed that I'm just not too good at maths. That's why I don't try. How many times have you heard about that? Like, maths are not for girls. And then you start to believe that it's like that. And then you think that something that is not for you, you are not going to be good at it. So then you say, why even try? So this is why they don't get into this field. But then what happens to the women that is already there? What happens when, like, I'm already doing some artificial intelligence, either at industry, researching, or whatever thing. So we go back to the same thing. Why we cannot maintain women in artificial intelligence? Because we don't have female role models. Because we don't have someone that we can follow, that we can say, like, this person is inspiring me to getting better at this field once I'm already there. So we get disappointed because we see probably we don't have the same opportunities to get that high as the different men that are already there. Why should I try? And then also, that comes also at the same time with job descriptions that we said, and also with the gender bias that for the offers for the job descriptions. They are mostly focused on men, that they keep away women from growing in this field. And if you don't grow, then you get bored. And then you move to another stuff, because that's how humans are. And also the most important thing, once you're working there, if you don't have a safe environment, probably you don't imagine, but whenever you see the commercial saying like, yes, I have lived this, I have lived sexual harassment at work. Someone has been telling me that my voice is not worth to listen to. Probably you have a coworker that whenever you say something, this coworker say like, yeah, but it's not good. But if another man say it, then it's like, yeah, you are saying the best stuff ever. It has happened to many people. It has happened to me as well. So it's not something that is like, it doesn't happen in the world. It's just like a myth. So then, well, we know that there are few women in artificial intelligence. And we know that there are many reasons of why they don't join artificial intelligence. But what's actually the impact of the lack of women in artificial intelligence? So as we were saying, like, artificial intelligence is going to be in our lives from now on. You are going to see it everywhere. And have you ever heard the saying that says, you are what you eat? So basically, the artificial intelligence model are what they are consuming. What they are consuming are those data sets that are created by data scientists that are studying artificial intelligence or doing artificial intelligence. So if there is only one type of person doing this data model is feeding this neural computational stuff, then it's going to be a bias in the system. So the biggest problem right now that we are facing is because of the lack of women, we have a lot of selection bias in our systems. So that means that we have racism also in artificial intelligence. So we have another problem because they don't think only by themselves. They think with whatever we teach them. So we need to find the balance so they can see the world in two different ways. At the end is diversity. So for example, Amazon created a tool for recruiting candidates. And they had to cancel this tool because they saw that they were just attracting male people. That this AI technology, it was just getting male people because they were trained to do so. Because we see outside that we have this we give advantages to male candidates, why the machine should be doing something different? Because we are feeding them. There is also that when you look at computer vision, there are algorithms that are doing like kind of algorithm discrimination because they are fed by normally with images that boys that are running and playing football, girls that are playing with dolls. I used to play football for 4 years when I was in high school. Then I'm going to be classified as a man by this artificial intelligence program. So you are what you eat, basically. And in 2016, the Google News created this paper in which they were saying that there were a lot of gender stereotypes in the algorithms. For example, they were saying that when you feed and you ask to Google, they were making statements like, a man is to a computer programming as a woman is a homemaker. We are not living in the past century anymore. We can do a lot of stuff, but these data models are creating biases in our programs. But then you start to think why it's like that. And also there is another example of the impact of women. Whenever you see a robot, whenever you see female robots, what do you see? Have you ever watched the movie Ex Machina or the movie Hair? They are women, right? And they are kind of like seen as an inferior position. Whatever digital assistant, they have only women voices, female voices. Actually, our research says that 67% of digital assistants, they are female. So they are there for assist you. They are doing the work that you don't want to do. They are seen as inferior position. You have Alexa. Alexa, what kind of voice Alexa has? A woman. Google Assistant, and probably my Google is gonna start talking like women. Whatever you see, Siri, whatever you see, they are seen like a woman. But then you look, on the other hand, at the male robots. What do you see? You see Iron Man, you see Terminator, you see the robot that can do parkour, and they are like strong, and they are male form. So we have a lot of biases since the movies, and this is how we grow up, thinking that strong robots are men, and then inferior robots are women. So as a woman, if I think about it, why do I want to go in a world that I'm seen as inferior? So this is also an impact, because if this world is male dominated, how can we change this? So the thing is, and that's the question, how can we contribute to the gender balance, which is basically what can help to the artificial intelligence to get rid of this selection bias? So the first thing that we have to do is to be aware that there are problems with this, that those problems are not just like, yeah, we open more jobs for positions for women, and we want to see women to be successful. These issues can also impact yourselves, because you are having an assistant in your pocket. I'm having an assistant in my pocket. What about if I want to track my period? Does men know about period? How can I track it if it was a system made by male for male, and they were assuming that they knew how my period worked? And this is not something that I'm just coming up right now. This is something that actually happened. So how also can we contribute? It's not only like my job as a woman to contribute with this gender balance. It's also the work as a man. It doesn't matter your gender. You all can contribute by making a safe environment, by supporting your girls or your daughters or your cousin or your auntie or your mom to continue studying in technology, but not saying like, I'm doing robots, you cannot do that. Actually, I was running a small AI club some few years ago, and we're doing robots. And I remember at the beginning, we were trying to attract, well, all kind of people, like everything, right? We were having this club in which you go there, you build robots, you share your knowledge, and you start having fun. So at the beginning, we had few women. And then after 5 times, the 5th time that we were running this event, we were 50 people in the room, and guess how many women were there? Women were there. It was just me. So then I say, like, why is this happening? Why is like all this issue happening around? It's just robotics. I used to play with a doll that was a robot that used to dance with me. Why do we see the robots like something that is hard? Just because it has the hardware word has a heart in it, it doesn't mean that it's not for you. So we were going around to the many different places, schools and also boot camps, trying to show the women that they also could do it. And then we started to attract people. But then I do remember one person telling me, yeah, but I see robots. I normally see robots, and that's what we talked about before. I normally see robots like male shape. Why do I want to do a male shape? Why do I want to go to the robotic side if it's gonna be full of men? I'm not gonna be there in the middle, in a room in the middle of men. Well, we also need to stop thinking like that with all the stereotypes that this is for men, this is for women, or pink is for women, blue is for men, because now we can do whatever we want. How also can we do that? Well, start inspiring people, because we were seeing that not many women get in the artificial intelligence field because they don't see anyone that can inspire them. But actually, in my case, for example, there wasn't any women who inspired me for studying this. It was my professor back in university who showed me how that I could do this artificial intelligence. So it's not only the work of women to become this inspiration, it's also the work of the men to say, yeah, no matter their gender, they are able to do it, and we trust you, and you can do it, and it's fine. So this is the way we can contribute. There are many different companies and organizations that they are already contributing with this field, the women in artificial intelligence. For example, there is UNESCO with their campaign, I Blush If I Could, that they are suggesting to not start like, to find a neutral gender for these virtual assistants. Because as we were saying, 60% of the virtual assistants, they are all female voices. So there is also IPSOF's Women in AI. Because we were saying we lack of women that can represent us, we lack of these role models. What they are doing is they are showcasing the awesome work that many women are doing around the world. So probably we can see and say like, yes, if she can do it, also I can do it. And then there is another one, IBM, She Can STEM. They are highlighting the gender gap because if you are not aware of a problem, you don't know how to solve it. You never know there is a problem, and you are going to continue like that. So what they are doing is highlighting the gender gap, and they are creating some workshops, and they are inspiring girls, because it's not only inspiring women at work or inspiring my mom to continue doing artificial intelligence. It's also inspiring girls from the very beginning, because they grew up hearing, no, you cannot do that. This is for boys. So actually, there are women doing artificial intelligence that they are amazing. Probably you don't know them because you normally hear about men doing artificial intelligence. For instance, we can say Claire Delanoy. She is working as a VP engineering. And what she's doing, she's enabled autonomous machines with these microcomponents. There is also Rana El-Kaloubi. What she's doing is trying to make the machines to understand the human emotions. There is a field in artificial intelligence called emotion AI. So she founded Affectiva, which is a company that is dealing with this, like how machines can interpret emotions of people. And then also there is Daniela, which is the director of the MIT. She's the first female head of the MIT, and she's also like the world's leading robotics. She's working with robots, and she's making robots to collaborate with each other. Because normally you see a robot and you see a robot alone. But then you see, for example, WALL-E that had Eva. So these kind of collaborative robots. So these are some women that are inspiring there. And I started here saying, I like to talk about me, but it's also because I'm doing some artificial intelligence. So just to show you that when I was growing up and I was having fun, that fun didn't stop until it hasn't stopped. Nowadays, I'm building robots, doing artificial intelligence. This is my small robot. And obviously, if I can do it, everyone can do it. So don't be afraid to dream and to start working. It can start like a small robot, but at the end, it can become a big robot that can make our lives different and can really understand us. So we don't have role models, and that's how I grew up. And actually, what I decided is to become the role model that we didn't have when we were growing up. Because, of course, I look around and I say, who was there to inspire me? Who was there to tell me, yeah, I did this, and this is amazing, and you can do it? Well, we don't have role models for now, or a lot of role models as we wish, so you can become one. So remember when I was telling you that my mom was telling me that she was living the dream with me? Those words actually had some other meaning, because she wanted to study AI when she was young. She didn't do it. And I hope some few years from now, we see more women saying, instead of saying like, I'm living the dream with you, we see more women saying like, hey, go study or practice artificial intelligence, because I already did it, and it was amazing and the best thing that I did in my life. So I hope everyone can become this role model that we needed when we were young. And that's it.